So in order for me to get this perfect photo match to the location, I had to a couple days before filming, a week before, I went to visit each of the locations, and using my SLR camera, I took a range of pictures with different zooms from different angles. I did this with every location of all the ones I wanted to use. And doing this also gave me an idea of how easy it was to go to each location and the time it took through riding a bike, which I did. So that also helped. I realized, however, that it was going to be much too ambitious to go to the Isabella plantation, because I realized that it was an hour and 15 minutes away from these locations by car, and I can't drive, and it was going to be extremely difficult because there wasn't a bus to access that. And I also realized that the playground was also very far from where we were going to filming. They were completely opposite directions. So I instead wanted to make my focus point Richmond Park and use as much as I could within there. So it's more of a collection of pictures of the park, the local park in her house, which gives a lot more tight-knit feel. So after I took the picture of these locations, I did it in a more confusing way, which sounded better, which I thought initially was going to be easier to do, which proved to be a lot harder to do. When I first came with this idea, I thought that I was just going to get the actors to go in to the location, take the picture. But when I went to see these pictures, I needed families. I needed one family in the picture, a loved couple, and just lots of different people. They had to be different. And there was no one available to do that on a Saturday. So I decided instead that I would just take the pictures of the location and then Photoshop in random people from the internet to try and perfectly match the location. So I took all these pictures, and then after that I had to find unwatermarked different people on the internet who were in the types of positions I needed them to be in to fit into the background, to fit into the picture. So this took a very, very long time. It was very time consuming. Had I redone this project, I would have definitely not done it this way. I've learned that, definitely. So I found the different sources of people that I wanted to use. I then photoshopped each of them in to the location, and then I tried to feather the edges to make it seem more natural, or I would create a drop shadow behind them to make the light a little more subtle. Some worked better than others. However, they did turn out a lot better than I thought when I was finding the source pictures. The one problem I had though was that some of the coloring was different. So the pictures in the past, the pictures of the people on the internet, it could have been a sunny day when they got their picture taken, and then my picture was a little gloomier, as darker colors. So it was pretty difficult trying to match that and trying to make this picture seem realistic. Although because I was printing it on a small A5 piece of paper, you couldn't really see that it was photoshopped because it was so small. So that was reassuring. So after I did this very time-consuming process, I then had to decide what type of effect I wanted the picture to be before I went to print it. Did I want it to have color? Did I want it to have light streaks going through it? Black and white? To have a film grain effect? I was overwhelmed by the options. And so I eventually went on to do a couple of different variations of each picture, just so that I could have different options and I could get different camera shots with the different types of effects to see which one I preferred, because I cannot make a decision. To add on these effects though, I used a software called Old Photo Booth, and this allowed me to just drop on different types of effects, different light exposures onto it, just to experiment with the type of effects that I liked. So